On page 412 of the recently passed Financial Competitiveness Act, a bill that was backed by both parties and aims to modernize the U.S. financial sector, it was right in front of us. That site contains a sentence that could fundamentally change how money develops in the future. This seemingly harmless-sounding remark completely changes everything. The vast majority of people think that all of the talk about real-time payment systems and lowering the risk of cross-border settlement is just fancy business jargon. However, there is more to it than meets the eye. Those who are familiar with financial technology and cryptocurrencies know that using tools like ripples is clearly required by law. This could change the way we think about and use money, making transactions safer, quicker, and more transparent. These are not merely conjectures. Rather, they are rules that financial institutions must follow to stay ahead of the competition in the financial race of the 21st century. The bill's language is quite plain and almost surgical. In particular, it addresses the development of interoperable payment networks, the supply of immediate institutions' debt settlement, and the need for an impartial asset, independent of correspondent banking, for cross-border banking operations. Congress has put out a list of requirements that must be fulfilled in order for XRP and Riplet to be utilized as bridge currencies once the legal ease is lifted. This is a rather comprehensive list. It is precisely for the purposes specified in the bill that XRP is useful. It is neutral, scalable, quick, and lawful. Additionally, it may link all of the main financial institutions in the US and around the globe. XRP is not specifically mentioned in the measure. Why XRP, one could ask. This is therefore because the vocabulary employed in the bill is the same as the technology that makes up Ripple. It specifically demands that there be a bridge asset that is neutral and unaffiliated with any specific fiat currency. As you are aware, this asset should greatly lower the counterparty and operational risks connected to traditional correspondent banking and enable very instantaneous settlements abroad. Only one company in the world, Ripple, can accomplish this on a wide-ranging, if we are being absolutely honest. The timer is already starting to run out of time. The bill gives financial institutions 24 months to comply with these modernizing standards. Every major bank in the U.S. will have 2 years to upgrade their antiquated systems, deploy real-time payment technology, and guarantee that they have access to the funds they need to do business internationally. XRP will undoubtedly be at the center of the action when it comes to liquidity. Each and every financial institutions will eventually have to enter the market if they wait or do nothing. As financial institutions scramble to include the only option that can be used right away, this will cause a sharp increase in demand for XRP. This goes beyond just making things simpler or cutting down on the amount of time spent on chores. The safety of the country is another issue. Perhaps you are aware of the bill's repeated warnings that the United States could lose its financial hegemony to other nations if it does not update its payment methods, especially the digital yuan systems in China. Since it is an American company and its technology is already being used by financial institutions worldwide, Congress is sending a message that the United States of America must remain at the forefront of international finance. The best firm to provide the solution is Ripple. From this perspective, the use of XRP is independent of market and speculation. Instead, it is for the good of the whole country. The consequences of this are rather astounding, to be honest. They're completely startling. It is highly likely that the entire financial system will experience a fundamental change, with implications that transcend well beyond the banking industry. Suppose the infrastructure of every major American financial institution, from JP Morgan to Bank of America, had to be completely renovated. This would entail putting in place real-time settlement systems and ensuring that they could conveniently and safely use a neutral bridge currency like XRP. The modification is not, it is only a technical one. Instead, it is a thorough overhaul of their core business processes. This suggests that they will have the ability to charge billions of dollars more for XRP, continue to be charged transaction fees, and have a strong network effect that will enable them to hasten adoption. The network as a whole has increased in value and usefulness overall. It is not only banks that are impacted when other institutions join. This shift will affect platforms for payments, payment processors, and finance technology, as well as the corporate treasury divisions of the biggest corporations worldwide. This will fundamentally change the global money transmission system. The value of XRP will rise in tandem with every transaction that occurs on Riplet. Up until now, it was mostly just an idea, but it is quickly turning into a reality. A cycle of acceptance and network expansion will be initiated, and it will last until its conclusion. From the standpoint of the market, the measure has essentially legalized XRP's further economic growth. In regulatory uncertainty, which has long been a problem for institutions, has been removed in compliance with the statute. Financial institutions are now required to look into blockchain-based solutions in addition to being encouraged to do so. After walking the entire hallway required to set them into action, she developed a psotic scar. One of the main reasons individuals do not utilize XRP is because they are afraid of what may be done by the authorities. An important infrastructure partner for the U.S. financial system. The Ripple is now a source of innovation as well as a source of optional innovation. It is impossible to exaggerate the significance of the moment. Rapid change is occurring in the global corporate landscape. China has created a digital currency that is already being tested and utilized throughout Asia, which might lead to the creation of a unique banking system outside of U.S. control. The new law requires the United States to use its own technologies to compete and protect its position. Ripple is the sole business not headquartered in the U.S. that can provide that competitive edge right now. XRP is therefore more than just a cryptocurrency. In the context of an increasingly digitized and worldwide economy, it is also the way that the United States preserves its financial independence. It is clear that compliant states will force financial institutions to buy and hold onto XRP in the future to preserve operational liquidity. The fees resulting from an increase in the volume of transactions on Ripple will burn XRP. Yes, it will become more scarce as a result of the reduction in supply. The cryptocurrency will grow even more established in the market as corporate funds and payment networks incorporate XRP into their daily operations. DeFi and tokenization initiatives based on the XRP ledger will be able to gain from this flood of institutional cash. In these conditions, an environment will be established where acceptability fosters growth and utility drives demand. Many people may recall this statute as the time that the United States of America officially recognized blockchain as the foundation of contemporary finance. For individuals who possess XRP and Ripple,